बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। तो अभी हम लोग जो है गर्भ संस्कार के जो आखिरी 2 टॉपिक्स हैं उसको करेंगे, ठीक है। सो yesterday we talked about how there is this thing called as Baal ghutti and Suvarnavacha, ठीक है। तो ये 2 चीजें क्या है उस पे हम लोग आज बात करेंगे, और ये क्यों देते हैं इस पे भी बात करेंगे, ठीक है। सो बाल ghutti and second is Suvarnavacha. Suvarnavacha. So, Baal ghutti is, various formulations of herbs, and this is supposed to build the immunity of the child. Okay. So, this is also, you can say, a way to improve the digestive system, a way to support the milestones of the baby's growth. So, the baby is going to grow, there is no doubt about it. But can that growth be facilitated? So if you remember, in one of our sessions, we talked about that in Ayurveda, medicine has 2 angles. One is the angle of curing a disease. And the second angle of medicine is enhancing the health. Okay. So this Baal ghutti and Suvarnavacha are examples of enhancing the health or enhancing the immunity. So the Baal ghutti, or you can say it's a combination of several herbs, is prepared and it is given in certain specific quantities, and the quantity is gradually increased as the baby grows. Okay, consists of several herbs. So which are these herbs? The names have been given. Okay, so I'll just share the names. The names are Haritaki, okay, Vibhitaki, Amalaki, okay. Then there is marod fali or twisted bean, and by the name it suggests that the shape is actually like something has been twisted. And this particular herb is wonderful when the baby has pain in the stomach. Okay. So whenever there is a pain in the baby's stomach, marod fali is what is given. Okay. So anyways, I'm just sharing in general. Then there is fever nut. Okay. It is a seed of a plant which is supposed to reduce fever. Then there is shatavari. Many people think shatavari means only to be given to women. And if other people consume, then something else will happen. No, that's not true. Okay. Shatavari promotes well-being of whole body. It promotes growth of the whole body. Okay. Then there is nutmeg, which means jaifal. Jaifal. Okay. Then there is something called as pipali. And there is last 2. One is vidanga. And the last is vacha. Okay. So these are generally used herbs to make a Baal ghutti. But across India, every Vaidya or every tradition of Ayurvedic practitioners have their own combination for their geographical areas or depending on their practices. So sometimes people use something called as Brahmi, okay? And sometimes people use black pepper also as one of the ingredients of the Baal ghutti, okay? So they are measured in a certain proportion, and that proportion is then given to the child. So how is it given? So what they do is there are 2 ways. In this book they have talked about that, there's this small stone that you get. Generally in southern India, people keep it in their temple, and they rub the chandan, the sandalwood, to get a paste of the sandal. So that same chakla, on that you have to basically take all these herbs in their raw form, okay, and they are rubbed onto that stone, one circle, and that entire rust, that entire thing that comes out, is mixed in mother's milk and given to the baby. So it's licked or rubbed onto the tongue of the baby. Okay, and this is continued for whole 1 year. Some people do it continuously for 5 years, and another form of this is continuing it for 12 years and until puberty is achieved. Okay, so all these herbs, when they are combined in a certain proportion, they bring about improvement. What do? Agni. So, of course, just like adults, the baby's Agni has to be taken care of. If the Agni is not good, then baby keeps having some problem or the other. It takes care of the kapha, okay, and ensures proper growth. So it actually promotes growth. Okay. So each herb has its individual properties in which the writers have thoroughly discussed. Okay. You can go through them. And it's actually good to keep all these herbs in your kitchen. Even if you keep, 20 grams of all these herbs, this will actually be very helpful in the long run. Okay. So you can actually keep these herbs in the raw form in your kitchen and not just use it as a Baal ghutti, but also you can use it for several other problems that we all keep having at home. Okay. Another thing that this Baal ghutti does is prevents growth of bacteria or infection in the gut of the child. Okay. So it prevents infections. Among these herbs, the last one, which is the vacha. Okay. Now, vacha, as I had mentioned, is a very special herb. Okay. So, how is it special? That we will see just now. So, vacha has an impact on the brain. It's a lot like Brahmi. Okay. That is why it's supposed to help sharpen the intellect. Okay. It sharpens the intellect. And the another effect is known as Rakshogna, which I had discussed yesterday. So it wards off evil or low energies. Okay. So that is why in the next one, that is Suvarnavacha, which is the next chapter, Suvarnavacha Rasayanam basically consists of the same vacha herb, and it consists of gold. This combination is given. Okay. And this combination is called as a rasayanam because rasayan by definition means a enhancer. It enhances, promotes, especially the intellect. Okay. So generally for a period of 1 year, this particular combination is given every day. Not just first day diya or ho gaya. Nahi. It is given every day. And the quantity is changed as the baby grows. Okay. So I'll talk about how it is to be given, and it is to be given with honey and ghee mixed together. So the Balagutti can be given in mother's milk. Okay. So when the baby is just about to start breastfeeding, first thing in the morning, you just mix, make this, mix this, on the wood, sorry, on the stone, on the chakla, you rub it with little bit of breast milk. Okay. And then what you get is a small amount of liquid, very small. Okay. And this is then administered first thing in the morning to the baby. Okay. So Suvarnavacha is given in honey and ghee. And why have they suggested so much of honey and ghee? Which is again contrary to the practice of modern Western medicine. I don't know if you've heard or not, but the doctors very clearly tell, especially in India, they tell all the time because they know we keep giving honey. Don't you give honey to the baby. Don't you dare give honey. They'll ask, why? Why we should not give honey? The baby will develop infection, botulism. Okay? So don't you dare give honey. And why you should give ghee? The baby's gut is not ready, should not give any fatty substance. Okay. So this is what modern science says. Okay. If you look at historically, there have been incidents of botulism in children in Europe. Okay. And because of that, there were incidents of deaths of children. But in India, there is no such problem with having any such infection on consuming honey. Okay. So now it is a matter of actually research that, whether did they heat the honey? Did they heat it? Did they actually do the processing? Like once the honeybee leaves the honey, you have to process it. Did they process it? So all these things are a matter of research because in Indian literature and Indian statistics, there are no such thing as botulism found in children. Okay. So why did they think of honey and why did they think of ghee? So already we have talked about ghee a lot in the entire pregnancy period. So ghee is a tridosha balancer, number one. Number two, which we have talked again, it nurtures the brain, the nervous system, okay, and hence promotes proper growth, not imbalanced growth. When I say promote growth, lot of protein powders also promote growth. If you read on the internet, why you should have protein powder? Because it promotes growth, but that is unnatural growth, unnatural cellular growth, which is not in the hands of the body. But ghee does not create anything unnatural. It is in acceptance to what the body wants or needs. It isn't a harassment, it is not a push. Okay, so there is a difference between what is the nature of the substance. So ghee by nature is known as to be saumya, and anything which is saumya, it means it takes permission of the body. Okay, and only then it acts. So here, when ghee promotes growth, it's very different from protein promoting growth. Okay? Did I reach you guys? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that is why ghee has to be taken with this vacha and suvarna. And why honey? Honey is a kapha balancer. And in children, the main thing we need to balance is the kapha. Okay. डॉक्टर कल्पना के नाम से आवाज है ना तुमसे मत Okay, my friend has joined. Hi Kalpana.
आंटी बुला रही है
So Kalpana, ये गर्भ संस्कार का चल रहा है. Kalpana is my friend. She's a practicing doctor in near Ghaziabad. So Kalpana, thank you for joining. Yeah.
My pleasure, Shefali.
Yeah. So because it's a kapha balancer, that's why honey is important for the child's or for the baby's growth. Okay. That's why both are taken together, but in what proportion? Always in unequal proportion. Please note this. Always in unequal proportion. Unequal either by weight or by volume. Whichever way, but make it unequal. Okay, so how do you make it unequal? If you make it equal by volume, it will become unequal by weight. Okay, so you can just take 1/8 of madhu and 1/8 of ghee, and it will become unequal by weight. Okay. And in this, they have talked about what is Suvarna, why gold? Why are Indians so obsessed with gold even in their food? Okay, even in the child's growth, man. I mean, isn't that too much? But no, it's not too much. In Ayurveda chemistry, there has been a lot of exploration of how different metals are transformed for human consumption, and very different from modern chemistry. Very different, because basically Ayurveda uses biochemistry. It modulates all the inorganic substances into a biochemical format, wherein the structure of the molecule will have some of these herbal components penetrating their structure, and that allows it to blend with the human biology. I'm sharing all these concepts in very layman language, but all these concepts have a certain term in Sanskrit with a certain definite way to understand the chemistry. Okay, so why gold? So the reason why gold is used is because it is considered medhya. Medhya once again means that which improves the intellect. The other property of gold is it is hridya. Hridya means that which supports the heart. And since heart is a vital organ, it needs support. And a very interesting property of Suvarna is it's an antidote, which means any kind of poisoning, it can handle it. Okay. So because of these three tremendous qualities of Suvarna, Suvarnavacha Rasayan is to be given to children. Okay. So this is why Suvarnavacha is given to children. And here my friend is here, Shraddha. Yesterday I was talking about my friend, right, who used to talk to her grandmother, and her grandmother used to help her. So Shraddha is that doctor. She's in Banaras and she practices there. She runs her own entire hospital. So that's how she's delivering a lot of these children through her understanding, plus with her grandmom's inputs. Namaste, Shraddha.
नमस्ते.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि तुम आई हो. मैंने सबको तुम्हारी और तुम्हारी नानी की जो कॉन्वर्सेशन है वो बताई है.
धन्यवाद.
ठीक है. So this is about Suvarnavacha Rasayanam. In this, they have also talked about what quantity to be given. Okay. So the quantity is very clear. However, I will share it again. And since you have the book, you all can refer back to this book again and again. So basically, the vacha stick you need, okay? And you have to use only 1 gram, they're saying. I don't know whether it's 1 gram, but basically a gold wire. And both of them are entwined to each other. And just as how we did the Baal ghutti, same way, you have to rub it on the chakla. So they have said that for a newborn baby, right up till newborn baby, only one circle, only one time you have to rub it onto the chakla, and that you have to mix in the honey and ghee. Okay. If the baby is in the 4th month, then only 4 circles, 4 rounds. And if the baby is 1 year old, then only 10 rounds. Okay. So that's how this is to be given to the baby. How long can it be given for? It can be given continuously for 1 year, for 2 years. Okay. And of course, you'll have to, sometimes see, depending on the weather, the baby will respond. Supposing it's very hot, it's summer, and you're giving this vacha, Suvarnavacha, sometimes you see that there is an excess heating impact on the body. So maybe you'll have to reduce the round a little bit. Okay. So you maybe have to reduce the dose, but that's perfectly fine. According to season and region, you'll have to reduce the number of rounds. So that's about our topic.
This 1 gram gold wire, in how many days it should be over?
1 year.
Full?
1 year.
gram in 1 year. Okay.
1 year.
Okay.
Okay. So it will last you for an entire year. Okay. So this is about the, how Ayurveda is looking at immunity, how Ayurveda is looking at health of babies. It's not that only when you get a fever, only then you give something. There are some things to be done on a daily basis. As I mentioned last time, that Ayurveda talks about definiteness of a routine, definiteness of a lifestyle, because they're very clear that in food and in lifestyle, there is nothing called as happiness or so-called fun. Make it different. Okay. Difference happens only in your internal being, in your response to situations. You're not going to get any fun out of, no matter how many recipes you make or change or keep creating, but there is no sukha in either of these two things. That is why there is a definiteness in achieving health. Okay. So the last chapter, which is on why does the baby cry? Now, this is a very good practical chapter they have given. And as far as I know, most people, since they do not know what to do when the baby is crying, this chapter is really eminent for them. So before you go and meet a Vaidya, what will you do? What can you do? Okay. So when a baby is crying, you need to figure out, why is my baby crying? Can I know it at my level first before I go to meet a Vaidya? So they're saying, yes, you can figure it out. You can find out. So then they are given possible number of reasons why the baby may be crying. Okay. So one of the best ways is that you first, hold the baby in your lap and you gently press the stomach and see, is the baby's stomach aching? Because the moment you will press it, either the baby will cry more or the baby will feel better, whichever way. Okay. Then you start, touching all the limbs of the baby. You touch the shoulders, you touch the hands, you touch the buttocks, you touch the legs, and see which part on touching the baby either feels relieved or is crying more. Okay, this is a very simple thing. But this practical thing, since there is no discussion, there is no forum where we can actually talk about all this. So a lot of young parents, the moment the baby is crying, they just rush to the hospital. So before you rush, take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, touch your baby from the head to the toe and talk to the baby. Okay, what happened? You didn't like what happened? You're not feeling okay. Is the weather okay for you? Are you feeling too sweaty? Check the clothes you have, made the baby wear. Is it cotton or synthetic? If it is synthetic, maybe it's bothering the baby. Okay. Had the baby slept well in the night? Okay, if the baby had woken up several times, maybe the baby is feeling more cranky. Okay, so talk to the baby. The baby is only small in body but not in soul. Okay, the soul talks, the soul listens, the soul responds. So use this reality for being abled parents. Okay, so this is how. Then you check the nose. You check the nose. You slightly put थोड़ा सा ऊपर खींच के देखो, is there a lot of mucus in it? Okay, check the eyes, is there too much of कीचड़ coming? Okay, check the ears, is there something in the ear? All right, check the groin area, maybe there are some rashes over there. Okay, maybe there's some swelling in the genital area. So you just need to be observant before you panic when the baby cries. Because the first thing that happens is if the baby is crying and the baby is not becoming quiet, the parents just panic. They're like, oh my God, what's happening? And the whole house is on hell. Okay. So before you do all that, take 5 minutes, look at each part of the baby, talk to the baby. Sometimes the shoulder area becomes painful. Okay, so the baby cries more. When you massage it, the baby relax. Okay, so these are little pointers that we need to be aware as a family. Okay, and once we have figured out, well and good, we can remedy it. If we feel we cannot remedy it, for example, the synthetic clothes are bothering it, you remove it and you put cotton clothes on. That's the remedy. Okay. If the shoulders are slightly paining, the neck is paining, if you just gently massage it, the baby will relax. Okay. But if you find there is some reason which is not in your hands, maybe it's because of cold, maybe there is a severe stomach ache. Okay. That's when you go and meet the Vaidya. Okay. So this chapter is giving you a clue on what you can do at your level when the baby is crying. So you don't have to panic, right? Parents, if you're parents, well, you don't panic. You implement the right understanding. Okay? If baby is crying and parents also start crying, then all is hell then. So this is what we need to do. Be observant and treat the baby not as a toy, but actually as a soul. Okay? So this is how the crying of the baby needs to be first investigated in. All right? So with this, the book completes. In the last, they have talked about, after crying of the baby, they've talked about foods that are good for the mother. And indirectly, directly we talked about it yesterday. that why, because of a certain physiology, the mother is given a certain kind of food, okay, certain kind of nutritious food, so that we balance the vata, so that we improve the internal organ system, so that we help nurture the rakta dhatu. Okay, so it's from that perspective that lot of ghee is given. It is from this perspective that lots of majja, or this magaj, what we call, so are given, so that this entire system comes back to normal. Okay, so with this book completes. In this, they have talked about the role of cashew nut. However, I have a slightly different understanding. They have mentioned that cashew nut is very good for the lactating mother. According to my understanding, cashew nuts have a certain different kind of property which creates more of acidity. It causes amla pitta and it is shukra ghna, which means the regenerative capacity of the body is reduced by cashews. Okay, so that is why the intake of cashews is always restricted as compared to the other magaj. Okay. So, yeah, anything that you would like to share? Anamika ji is also.
It was a very interesting chapter, and when we had our baby, the first one, we gave him Baal and the other one. It was available in the market, so we purchased from there. So I think it had some good effect on the baby as well.
Amazing. That's so good. Okay.
And one more thing I wanted to say to Shraddha madam, if she's on there. I think Shraddha ma'am, if you are there, so see our culture which was there in the past, right? It has been suppressed for almost like 200, 300 years, okay, because of the colonial reasons. And now I think it is time that we revive it back. So Shraddha ma'am, all the knowledge which you have from your grandmother, I mean, it is my suggestion, if you would like to keep record it in some manner, maybe in a form of video, okay, as an education video or something like that, maybe it will help the Ayurvedic community. Okay, the knowledge which you have from your grandmother, it can share with them as well. Maybe slowly we will overcome this Western culture of following everything which is done by Western, and we will come back to the traditional Indian system, which is much more strong and which is much more experience of 5,000 to 6,000 years than the recent 200 years for modern medicine. So this is my suggestion.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I hope Shraddha is able to listen. Maybe you can respond later. So, in fact, just to add to Mrinalji's point, I think now the world is moving towards what knowledge is universal. So, whichever tradition has practiced midwifery, and which all traditions did, okay, it was only during World War and a little before World War that this entire system was made more patriarchal and more, get the results, finish patients fast, that kind of mentality. Now, the entire midwifery system is now revived, and you could say in entire Europe, they have done it in the last 70 years or 80 years. They have brought it back. And now this is being, you can say it's come to India also in the last 30, 40 years, although in a very small way. But in India, it's catching up. So because midwifery is the same, that's not going to change. Okay, the way babies are going to be delivered naturally is always going to be the same. Okay, whether I live in America, Brazil, Australia, India, anywhere, it's going to be the same. So this midwifery system, which has come back to India, uh, although it has come from Europe, they have redesigned the whole thing and they've brought it back. I see a huge hope that once again, people with traditional knowledge plus the knowledge of this midwifery can bring out the best to the entire world. Okay. So let's see how that happens. Maybe more of collaborative works. That's how it's going to bring the best to the world.
बढ़िया।
And the only thing is in India, right? The maternity homes or hospitals, they prefer to do a C-section than a normal delivery because of the time it takes for the normal delivery, right? So I'll give you an example. My sister-in-law, she had a child last year. So doctor told her, her regular checkup doctor, gynac, he told her that next week I am going out of station, so let's have a delivery this week itself. Yeah. So, so he said, okay, it's anyway 9 months, so let's have a delivery now because he is going out of station next week. So I mean, even that is happening.
Yes, as we will grow consciously, we'll become more aware as human beings. We will choose to say, okay, my holiday can wait. Okay, I'll do the delivery when the baby is to come. Because I have seen a natural birthing center and I've seen how these ladies, they are so available all the time. And I'm like, salute to these guys because they don't have any holiday. So, well, I must say it's completely now the effort of us as a community, as a society, that as we'll evolve as people, we'll start valuing these moments as moments to be nurtured, not as moments to be निकालो काम खत्म करो और आगे बढ़ो. काम नहीं खत्म करना, यही काम, यही जिंदगी है. ठीक है.
Yeah, a similar example actually. My other sister-in-law, she also had a son last year, almost around the same time. Okay, so she went to a doctor which was in the small town, like near her village. So they went for a normal delivery. She only insisted you should have a normal delivery. So she could not bear the pain. So she said she told doctors, please get the C-section done. I can't bear the pain. So doctor actually motivated her, and she actually waited for the right time. Okay, and even the nurses, they were very experienced. They were able to rotate the child. Okay, so that his heads come down. Okay, so they waited and they did all the twisting of the child. So they were so experienced and dedicated. And the child was born at late night around 1:30, and within next 12 hours she was discharged. Okay, so there was no health problem to mother also.
ठीक है.
बढ़िया.
So now feedback शुरू करें.
हाँ जी, हम फीडबैक शुरू करते हैं. उससे पहले कुछ गेस्ट आज हमारे साथ हैं. मैं उनको एक बार ब्रीफ कर देती हूँ. आप सभी को पता ही है ना, डॉक्टर शेफाली जी वैद्य हैं और मैं एजुकेशन के ऊपर काम करती हूँ. तो हम दोनों को लगा आयुर्वेद के बारे में अगर लोगों को अवेयर करना है तो किस तरीके से हम लोगों तक पहुंच सकते हैं या सबको अवेयर कर सकते हैं. तो हम दोनों की सहमति बनी कि शिक्षा के माध्यम से ही है ना समाज अवेयर होता है. तो घर घर में आयुर्वेद पहुंचाने के लिए बुक रीडिंग सबसे सशक्त माध्यम है. तो हमने उस क्रम में बुक का चुनाव किया. सबसे पहले हमने सोचा था कि पंचकर्म बुक पढ़ेंगे. फिर उस क्रम में हमने ये बुक देखा, आयुर्वेदीय गर्भ संस्कार बुक. इसके राइटर हैं राजेश्री कुलकर्णी और वैद्य अभय कुलकर्णी. जब ये बुक्स देखे तब हमें लगा कि इसके बारे में लोगों को पता होना चाहिए और हम 28 मार्च को ये बुक हम पठन का शुरुआत किए. हमारे साथ रहे पावनी जी, अनामिका जी, मृणाल जी और हर्षदा जी और सुनीता जैन भाभी जी. आज गुरलीन नहीं आए हैं, हमारे साथ गुरलीन भी रहे और मैं और शेफाली जी. तो जर्नी काफी बढ़िया रहा. उस जर्नी में हमारे रीडर्स को क्या मिला, कहाँ ध्यान गया, उस पर वो अपना शेयरिंग करेंगे. तो हम एक एक करके सुनते हैं. उसके बाद हम में से जो चाहें हम भी अपनी बात को रख सकते हैं. ठीक है ना शेफाली जी?
एकदम बिल्कुल.
बढ़िया. तो आप सभी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है. अब साथ में चलते हैं. चलिए, तो सबसे पहले कौन रखेंगे? मृणाल जी का रख दें सबसे पहले. हाँ जी, मृणाल जी, अनामिका जी, पावनी जी और सुनीता भाभी जी. उसके बाद हर्षदा जी कुछ रखना चाहे तो. जी मृणाल जी.
सबसे पहले तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद इसको आयोजित करने के लिए.
मृणाल जी 1 मिनट रुकेंगे, मैं एक बार रिकॉर्डिंग को बंद कर देती हूँ और फिर से मैं चालू करती हूँ.